Hey, what's up, you sales superstars? I'm so glad you guys are with me today. It's Wednesday as we record this, and you could be watching on Wednesday the 19th, or you could be watching it during the week. But this is stuff that will take you to the next level. You know what I always look at is how do we get so good in this business? How do we get to the point of when we go home at night, we're just like so jacked up, so excited about how our day went. You know how I think we do it? I think it is about growing. It's about learning new stuff every day. Now, these lessons are about 20 minutes and they come in once a month. But I think it's important for us to realize that if you look at all the superstars in the business, yes, they go to work to work. Yes, they have a plan. Yes, they follow the plan. Yes, they're committed. Yes, they're disciplined. Yes, they ask themselves questions to grow. And yes, they're growing every single day. So if you're not, if you're stagnant, you're just waiting for the up to come in, if you're reading your phone and checking out what the sports scores are from last night, if you're scrolling Facebook and you're just watching Nate Bargatze, is that how you pronounce it? Videos like I've been known to do, get out of there, man. It'll kill you. So let's get disciplined every single day. We'll talk about that as we do live events for your stores. Now, if you're a client of mine, what you know is that we get together once a month live. And if you're not a client of mine, that's an opportunity that you have if you're interested. We want to welcome some new people that have shown up today. Thank you so much for coming. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit. And for those who have been through this series before, give me a couple minutes to bring other people up to speed so that they understand what we're doing in that area called sales. Now, as you guys know, these are 20-minute meetings. And we get together again every week. And what we do is we talk sales. That's what we do in these. So if you're watching this in your sales meeting, you'll get that we go deep with some techniques. Now, again, for those of you who've been through this for the last 3 weeks, thank you for your patience. Today, we're talking about rapport. And the reason, frankly, I'm standing up is I'm so jacked up. I have to tell you, I'm a little hyperactive. I'm probably ADD. I hate sitting down. And when I'm training, I'm always standing up. It's just a big deal to me. So I hope you're okay with that. So, what's rapport? Well, we've talked about this again, but it's a relationship that's characterized by mutual understanding and empathy. We've talked about that the last 3 weeks. We also talked about rapport is that by establishing building rapport, we can take them through a process of influence. Now, what's John Maxwell say leadership is? Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But I think there's more than that. Sales is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Think about it like this. This is when they come in, this is when they leave. In the middle, you have to create, visualize like a ball going down from one end to the other. You have to create a sense of certainty. And we're going to talk about how to do that. If there's no certainty, there's no deal. So keep that in mind as we go through this. By the way, for those of you who are brand new in this series, make sure you email me and I'll send you the others, the ones we've done in the past couple of weeks to you. Now, rapport is not manipulation and it's not commonality. One of the biggest things that we feel is that if I have commonality with my customers, they'll buy from me. Oh, and that's not rapport. The commonality is if it's authentic, great. But if it's not authentic, if you're telling them a white lie because you want them to like you, just because they like you doesn't mean they're going to buy from you. I got a lot of people in my past that have liked me and then they didn't buy from me because they didn't think I was the one that could meet their needs. And then once I realized that, it changed everything. So the area where most of us fail in sales is confusing rapport with commonality. It is not commonality. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. And we'll keep doing that as we go along every week. People don't people don't want to buy from people just like them. I had a brain fart there. People don't want to buy from people just like them. They want to buy from an expert. So the question is, Are you an expert? So remember, we said you got to be disciplined, you got to be committed, you got to grow every day. Be an expert. Know more about your product than anybody else possibly could. And when you do that, who are they going to go see? We've said this, but you would not go to an attorney that sucked, and you wouldn't go to a doctor that wasn't very good. I had a doctor once. She was a really nice girl, but she was brand new, and I didn't feel very confident in her. She forced her questions. It was that she didn't have any rapport. It was kind of fake. And I ended up going to another doctor. See, I need a bedside manner, yes, but I also need somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. You know what I mean? So, how about you? Are you that person that their people can say, yep, 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 yep. I know that they know what they're doing. It's a big deal, isn't it? All right. So let's do this as I look at our PowerPoint that I want to show you here. Let me grab this and let me show you this, and we'll make sure we're sharing it again. All right. So what you and I know is that there's four, four, got it? Four purposes of rapport. So what we know is this. One of those purposes of rapport, as I get it together here, is to establish an instant connection. Instant connection. How do we do it? We do it within 4 seconds, but how in the world do we do that? Well, you got to be able to know people, man. That's why I am big on salespeople understanding a couple things. DISC. I love DISC. I have a DISC program for salespeople. What's DISC? What the world is it? It's D for dominant, I for influencer, S for steady, and C for compliant. Now, I'm not going to go through all that right now, but I will tell you this. If you know how people think, if you know how they are, if you know some nuances of them, instantly, it's going to build instant rapport. How do you do that? By paying attention. Because see, paying attention will get you paid. That's really true. Here's the deal. These are dominant. They just want results. I's are talkers. They want relationship. S's are compassionate. They want to serve. And C's are are compliant. They need details. Engineers, for instance. All these people are different, but can you imagine how important it is for you, Mr. and Mrs. Salesperson, to understand that as soon as they walk up? I fly in airplanes all the time, and I'm always in the aisle. And I used to do people's inventory every time they walked up the aisle. What do I mean by that? I'd say, I wonder what that person's story is. And one reason I did that is because I wanted to make sure if I was going to make eye contact with them, then that was a person that I wouldn't mind sitting in the middle seat. Usually it was somebody 4'2" and weighed 90 pounds because I wanted my space. Right? But what I started to do after I became an expert in behavior assessments is I started to do an assessment in my brain. Is that a D? Is that an I? Is that an S? Is that a C? And I built instant rapport with people by thinking I know how they think. I'm pretty good at it. I'm kind of reading their mind. But what's that mean for you and me on the car lot? That means as soon as we see them, frankly, whether it's on the lot or it's person to person, or a phone call when you hear their tone, or an e-lead when you see the tone of the words they use, mirroring them is critical. You've all heard that. You've all heard about mirroring. But that means, first of all, mirror their body language, right? Which is 55% of building rapport. Mirror their tone, which is 38% of building rapport, and mirror their words. Oh man, I can't tell you. I had a salesman call me 2 days ago. And first of all, he was a sales manager. And I talked to a salesperson, and this guy's all over the map. He's a 22-year-old young man, great guy, but he's all over the map. In other words, when he calls me, "Hey, Bart, how's it going?" It's good. "Hey, man, I'm great, great, great. Glad to hear that. How's your day going?" He just asked me that. It's good. Great. So how are you doing with your business that we talked about last week? It's good. So hey, I got some idea. So he was so out of rapport that I was annoyed by him. A day later, his manager calls. And I'm a high active, talk fast kind of guy in certain moments. But this guy doesn't know it. He's never met me before. I pick up the phone and I saw who was calling. So I was a little tentative, but I picked it up. "Hello. Hey, Bart. Yeah, this is Elliot with blank, blank, blank. Hey, Elliot, how you doing? Hey, man, I'm really good, and I thank you so much for taking a few minutes to take my call. I know you've been talking to Billy, and I just wanted to say again, thank you. And if we didn't get all your information out to you quick enough, then let's make sure we get it. What questions do you have about the program? In other words, he started going in it, but he was mirroring my tone. He was mirroring my tone. When he mirrored my tone, we had instant. I know I'm annoying today, but it's okay. Instant rapport. So what's that mean? That means for us that we were connected. But see, you can break rapport easily too. You can break it with trying to be unauthentic, like with commonality when there isn't any. So you're coming to the table as a pro is important, but you're coming to the table understanding who you're dealing with is really important. If you've ever done a disc analysis, a disc test, what I know, I'm looking at my phone to make sure we're going to be on time. If you've ever been in done a disc analysis, what you know is that there's a page 8, and in that page it says, "This is how you talk to me. This is how you don't talk to me." And I love that in that page when I have clients that are going through it together, because dude, it's like I know exactly what's up with this person by just doing that report, and I can know how to communicate with them. And I can know if they're over the top with if I'm over the top or if I need to calm it down. You get it? So pay attention. That first 4 seconds is critical to pay attention. Remember, body language, tone, and words. Now we're going to talk a lot about tone in this series, but I will tell you that tone is probably the most underrated. Tone can change everything, especially if you want to be great on the phones. Tone can change everything, especially if you're good at asking questions. Okay, so we're going to establish our instant connection. How long? 4 seconds. You got it. And we're going to establish ourselves as an expert and a trusted advisor. Man, that's critical. And lastly, we're going to establish, build, and maintain certainty. Not lastly, because there's four. So that's important. Throughout the process, we're we're finding out what their wants are. We're finding out what their hot buttons are, of course. We're finding out what their needs are, of course. And we're communicating the same way they communicate. We're not we're gathering information. We're curious. And lastly, to be a leader in the conversation. To be a leader in the conversation. I teach a coaching class, and I think it's so important for salespeople to understand what coaching is. I call it activation, and but it's you would probably hear it as coaching, and I don't mean athletic coaching. I mean life coaching. I'm a mental health coach, life coach. I'm a leadership coach, all that. But there's four pieces that I teach coaches who want to be coaches, managers that want to be coaches. Number one, you've got to have an agenda. Now, if you think about you and I, we have an agenda. But part of that agenda is you and I need to be able to find expectations. In other words, what are the expectations of of the people you're dealing with? You've got your expectation. You want to walk them through the 12 steps of a sale, and you might even tell them that. Billy, let me tell you a little bit how this can work for you. I'm going to ask you some questions, make sure that you and I have that I have all the information I need and that you're comfortable with our dealership. I'm going to find out what it is you need. Once I find out what it is you need, I'll either pull that vehicle up for you or you and I can go get it. After that, I'll show you the features. It's a little different seeing it online than it is live. And I'll show you some of the features that you said were important to you. After that, you and I can drive the car. You can see how it feels and make sure that puts the icing on the cake if that's what you want, or at least give you enough information to compare it against others. Sometimes the drive makes it easier to compare against others. When you and I get back, if you're ready, I'll be glad to give you some numbers. If you don't want numbers, that's fine. If you do want numbers, you can have them for today or whenever you're ready to make a decision. Fair enough? Let me ask you some questions. That setup is smooth, but you got to be comfortable with it, right? So you're setting expectations. Now you're going to go in and find out what their expectations are. You set the agenda on how you like it to work. He then says what his expectations. Hey, I want a four-door Tundra. I want a long bed. It's got to have room for my kids in the back. I've got to be able to tow my master craft right? You get that, find out what his expectations. Look, when you're finding out your agenda, when you're setting the expectations of your client, here's something that's really important too. You've got to find out what they want. Look, remember we said instant connection, 4 seconds? They aren't here to make a friend. They are here to see if there's a vibe, if they feel comfortable with you. If it feels good, they're going to carry on for a bit until you prove them why they shouldn't carry on with you if you broke rapport. But your key is, again, 4 seconds and you want to keep the rapport. But you've got an agenda. Again, your 12, get through the 12 steps and hopefully serve them in a vehicle. But if you push the serve them in a vehicle, you're gonna break rapport because it's not about you. It's all about them and their what they want to accomplish. So when you ask them their expectations, it's big, but their expectation isn't, oh, I want to meet a salesman that's a good dude and likes to go out and have barbecue on Saturday night. They don't care about that, do they? So when you've been told no, like, and trust, yeah, they want to know you. Can they enough? Yeah, they want to like you. They want a jerk. But the big thing is the trust piece. And why do they trust you? Because you're the leader in the conversation. You're telling them what the story is. Now, some people might push back about all that you told them, and that's fine too. All right. Be flexible is my point. Set the stage, but be flexible. So you and I get this. First of all, what we need to know is, what do you want? That's a critical piece for a client. It's actually the first thing. Now, you wouldn't go up to clients and say, hey, welcome to Billy Bob Motors. I'm Bart, and you are? Hey, Steve, nice to have you here. Steve, Steve, make sure I got that right. Cool. Well, it's good to have you here. Steve, what are you hoping to accomplish today? Well, I'm looking for a, now we know what he wants. He's telling us what he or she wants, right? But there's a piece right behind that that we miss. We especially missed it during COVID, and we really miss it now. Can I tell you? Why do you want that? If you don't know why they want what they say they want, you're never going to get it. If and neither are they. And here's the deal: the why they want what they want. Is that even right? The reason they want it is going to help you in the close. Of course, I want to know that. Why is this important to me? To you? Tell me more. Tell me more. So why a truck? Well, you know what? I've been working a lot and I'm a CEO of a company, and I got to tell you, I haven't spent a lot of time with my kids. I've had this boat for 6 months. We've never taken it out. Well, right on. Now, when you said you haven't spent much time with your kids, will you be taking it to the lake? Yeah, that's why I need the back seats. My kids are 10 and 12, and I want them to go with me. I also have a couple of jet skis. I might even have a custom trailer to tow the jet skis too. Oh man, that sounds like so much fun. Talk about family time. So, what else is important to you in a truck? So you can meet those needs that you have and that dream you have for your truck. Well, it's got to have good gas mileage because I'm going to be driving quite a bit. We're going to drive a couple hours to the lake. And what else? Cool. And why is that important to you? So what and why are really important. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Not only do you want to know what, right? But you need to know why, right? And then the third part you need to know is who are they? What do I mean by that? So when you say that you want a Tundra pickup, tell me a little bit about that. Well, I want it to tow my boat and my jet ski. Oh, cool. Where are you going in your boat with your boat and your jet skis? Oh, the Lake Elsinore. Oh, cool. Oh, after you go there. See, we're finding out a little bit about who he is. Find out a little bit about who he is. We don't need to spend an hour on that. We don't need to get personal. Hey, my wife and I just got divorced and I want to go play. Oh, really? I'm sorry. What happened? No, we need to find out what they want, why they want it, and in relation to that, who they are. And when we know that, we can help them and lift them up. Remember, I said coaching has a lot to do, I think, is important with sales. Number one was agenda. So you get that. And set expectations. You get that, right? The next thing I want you to think about as a coach is obstacles. You're going to have obstacles. When you know what your obstacles are with a customer, Could be the wrong vehicle, could be that you're limited inventory, could be the equipment maybe isn't exactly what they want. Understand the obstacles in advance and also understand the options. When you understand the obstacles, why? Because you ask great questions. Then, because you're an expert and authority, you understand the options. Does that make sense? So we have an agenda in our head. Here's what we want to accomplish. And that's always not, it's not always going to happen that way. And that we know we've got some, we know what the obstacles are because we've asked them some questions. Maybe it's their trade, maybe it's what they want for their trade, maybe they're not ready to go yet. It's okay. We're not getting attached to any of that. And then we're going to offer them options based on what their obstacles are. Because why? Because we know our inventory better than anybody else. And then lastly, we're going to take action. We're going to have an action plan. So we've sat them down. We asked them some questions. Why? Why? And who are you? We've got the information about what they want to accomplish today. We've kind of set the agenda on how this works best for them. Now we understand maybe there's some obstacles, but we've got in our head some options, and we say, follow me, or we bring that vehicle up front. And then we give them different options. So we'll go deep with that at some point, but that's really important. Let me have you write this down. Set your agenda. Discover part of agenda 1A. Discover the expectations of your client and let them know how we can make this easy for them. Let them know the steps. Let them know the next step. And then, what are your obstacles? What are your options based on those obstacles? And lastly, what are we going to do to take action? Now we go into the steps of the sale. Does that make sense? And again, it all started with rapport. Because you're doing that, dude, you're a leader in the conversation. You're a leader in the conversation. You're not just blowing smoke. You are an absolute leader. So, hey, I just wanted to take this and break it down for you today. I get it. You've heard this a couple times, but I'm trying to add new twists to this. And here's what I want you to work on this week. Here you go. 3 things. Number 1, build rapport instantly. Build rapport instantly. And part of building rapport instantly is I want you to start and hit me up if you have more information, understanding what DISC behavior assessments are. Now, I've got a sample behavior assessment that I can send you. All you have to do is email me at bart@bartnollenberger.com and I'll send that to you. And if you open it up, it'll give you an example, Billy sample, I think it is, and kind of run through what DISC really is. And if you need me to walk you through that, I'll be glad to take a few minutes and do that with you. But know DISC, know how to read your people. That will help you build instant rapport. But pay attention to that. Pay attention to your body language when you're with clients. Pay attention to your tone. Are you mixing up your tone a bit? Pay attention to the words you use. Pay attention to their body language, man. Because sometimes you can see it when you break rapport. Really work on this week. I want you to work on one thing that you can really allow you to establish to them that you're an expert. Doesn't mean they want to know how smart you are. They really want to know how much you care, right? But information can be power. What do you need to know about your product that maybe you've been slacking on? Maybe it's you got to go watch product video. Go watch one, man. Be an expert. And what you and I want to do is maintain certainty. And the reality is, if you're not an expert, you ain't going to maintain no certainty because they're going to see right through you. Got it? Great job. We'll see you next week on Auto Mastery University. And if you want that DISC behavior assessment, you got my number, Bart@bartnollenberger.com.